Yeah, and this is FotMob Corner this week. Our segment that we do with FotMob. Make sure you download the FotMob app. You can find a link in the description for this, either in the podcast description or on YouTube, where this is also be clipped up and put out as a standalone piece. So if you're listening to the pod, but you want to watch this with me and Ali's face and also some graphics,
some lovely
in there
graphics
as well, then make sure you check it out on YouTube, because last week not many people watched it, and we need more people to watch it, please. So yeah, this is basically about like how good are West Brom, do we think? Because they're 5 games in and they are top of the league. Not that we're looking at the league table at this stage, but I think specifically for this segment we can say that currently West Bromwich Albion are top. They've played 5, they've won 4, they've scored 9 goals and they've conceded 2, and they've been relatively dominant in most of their games. And I think it's fair enough that Baggies fans are starting to get pretty excited. If we look at expected goals for, they're currently sitting 3rd. A bit of a surprise to see Millwall 2nd, Borough 1st, but that bodes pretty well in itself. Expected goals of 8.4. They've scored 9, so very they are outperforming their XG by a tiny bit, but nothing to be too alarming. When we look at big chances as well, they currently sit joint 4th with Watford on 13. So that is chances that are, I don't know what the actual value is. I think
big
over 0.2, I think. We'll have to check that out. So how many chances they've created there, which again shows that they are creating good chances rather than just having loads of shots, which is accumulating high XG. Brown has been someone whose style of play has fascinated me over his career, where at Huddersfield it was very much low block, counter, attacking transitions, and be very, very comfortable out of possession. In the infancy of his time at West Brom, it was a very mixed style, where for the most part we were seeing them still maintain that very passive out of possession shape, but in certain games they would step up a little bit and retain the ball where possible. And I think this season we're seeing an evolution again, where we're seeing them retain the ball way more, and that's shown by the fact that they've got the 7th highest average possession so far this season with 53.3. When you consider that they've been ahead for basically most of their games so far this season, it's pretty impressive, and very unlike Brown, I would say, that they're dominating the ball in the majority of games despite being ahead, and so game state dictating otherwise. But despite having that relatively high average possession number, they currently average the most accurate long balls per game, which is a bit of a surprise when you consider that they are possession heavy. And I think that what that comes down to is effectively a team that retain possession fairly deep, but rather than kind of playing through the thirds, it's up to the defenders or Mowat to basically spring, and especially spring wide, where they're trying to find fellows basically in high areas wherever possible. And that is reflected in the possession won in the final third per game, which is another stat you can find on FotMob, where they're ranked 22nd, again, basically showing no desire to press, no desire to come out at all. And that has always been a really fundamental part of Brown's sides, where their defensive, you have other teams, Leeds, for example, under Farker, their good defensive numbers are so much down to their ability to win the ball back in dangerous areas and basically stopping the opposition from coming anywhere near them. For Brown, it's always been about being passive out of possession, by saying we're very, very happy to let you have the ball. We're just going to let you come this far and then we're going to spring. And that's what they tend to do. So there's very little pressing from the front. And that's again reflected in their good defensive numbers, where their expected goals conceded this season is 20th, which is good. They've conceded 4.5 XG, only 2 goals conceded. Alex Palmer having a very good time in goal, it must be said. And I guess overperforming a little bit there. But you can see, basically in terms of the numbers, the style of play is working. You can see that their defensive numbers are good and their attacking output is good. And that all bodes pretty well. 2 key players from this season. You mentioned Madger just there. His shot map is pretty impressive. Apart from one shot from the halfway line, it's basically a cluster of chances between the posts inside the box. He's also a threat with both with kind of every facet of possibly scoring. 6 headed shots, 4 right-footed shots, 4 left-footed shots.
Love
again,
that.
Showing a real spread in terms of the way that he can hurt you. And he is really benefiting from playing alongside or inside Tom Fellows off the right hand side, again, who you mentioned there. 0.94 XGs per 90. Obviously that is ridiculous and isn't going to be kept up. As expected assists per 90 is still 0.39, which is still massive. And if you can keep up that output for the rest of the season, it'll be pretty impressive. 2.13 chances created. His cross accuracy as well is 57.1%, which is again really good. And then you look at his dribbling numbers, where he's averaging over 2 successful dribbles per game, and a success rate of 75%. and he's averaging just under 5 touches in the box per game. Like, these are all massive numbers for a player in his position. So basically, West Brom are really good, I would say, and they're a side who were very good last season, who, basically hearing any West Brom fans talk about their window will say everyone else thought we were having a terrible window. We saw that we were having a great window, which is, it looks good now, certainly. I'd be very surprised if no fundamental things about Baggies changed, so i.e. Corberán stays. I think they have to be one of the favourites for the title at this stage, given that their good results seem to be coming off the back of good performances.